Middle school. Helping your rising fifth grader make the adjustment is the topic for this edition of the Inside Scoop. Hello and welcome to the Inside Scoop. I'm David Owen. As a parent of 7 kids, I've had my share of changing school levels, but here to give us the perspective from the actual hallways and classrooms of a middle school is the principal of Smitha Middle School, Chris Salter. Chris, welcome to the podcast.
Good morning, David. Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm actually from Northern Virginia, grew up there outside of D.C., migrated down south to the University of Tennessee, got my bachelor's and master's there, and kept on migrating southward and came down to Cobb County 25 years ago and been with Cobb the last 25 years, all in middle school as a teacher and administrator and principal.
All in middle school?
All in middle school. Love it.
Okay. Some people would accuse you of having an issue for staying with middle school. Why would you stay with middle schoolers for 25? And that's all you've done, right?
That's all I've done.
Why would you stay with middle schoolers?
I just love to see the growth for those students coming from fifth grade, trying to find their way in the world, and 3 years later seeing the maturity and just becoming an individual and sending them off to high school.
So the gratification of just seeing the kids grow, is that the gist of it?
Yeah, the growth in the students, really seeing them mature and grow into individuals and start to kind of see their way in the world.
So what are some of the biggest differences that you've seen or that you see between the fifth grader and the sixth grader, or actually, I guess, the older grades once they get in there?
I always joke that, sixth grade is fifth grade plus. And those kids, they want some more independence. And they're going from being a big fish in a small pond to, big old middle school. But just wanting that independence, being a part of something. We offer lots of clubs and activities at Smitha Middle School outside the academic area to really nurture that middle school experience and figure out, what interests that they have. That
gives them the opportunity to move beyond the academic arena and just interact in a more relaxed way?
And really try to nurture the whole child, because not always just about academics. It's about, again, finding out what your interests are, socialization in middle school, learning how to be, make friends and be a good friend and be a part of something bigger than just yourself. Whether you're on the chess team in junior beta club, on our soccer club, in our drama performances. So it's a great opportunity for kids to really nurture their interest and find out what they like.
How long have you been at Smitha?
This is my 7th year as the principal at Smitha Middle School, but I was also a teacher at Smitha for 4 years back in the early 2000s.
Are you able to address the unique aspects of Smitha as compared to maybe a typical middle school?
I think so. We have a very diverse community, and I think we try to do a lot of things to reach out to our community in a variety of different ways to meet their needs, but also be responsive culturally, have lots of events that, reach out to their heritage, their background.
So the diversity of Smitha is actually, I would guess, all the more encouraging to the kids about discovering who they are and thinking through, who am I and where have I come from and what are my values in life and so forth.
Yeah, and making sure that our teachers are making learning not only engaging and enjoyable, but relevant to the students' world and the world around them.
With all of the turmoil in a middle schooler's mind and frankly, physical body at that age, it's got to be a real challenge for teachers and your staff to kind of work through that with the kids. Is that something that y'all have to actively work through, or does it just happen?
Well, true middle schoolers, they understand the unique needs of the middle school learner. It can be an awkward phase at time, but we are always continuing to do ongoing training. We have great support from the district. We have a great counseling staff that does a lot of unique things to help kids discover who they are, but also deal with, again, I mentioned becoming a good friend, dealing with peer conflict. How to, if you're struggling, how to advocate for yourself as a student. What are avenues that you can reach out to your teacher and get extra help? How can you find support among your peers? So middle school teachers have a unique skill set to deal with all types of students.
I was going to say, it seems to me that your teaching staff has to be well equipped for beyond the academic. They almost have to be like maybe 10 to 20% counselor, right? And helping students work through some of these challenges. They're also taking on more responsibility at sixth grade, right?
Yeah, certainly. We want to make sure that school is a safe place physically and emotionally. So that, part of that is making sure as teachers you have great relationships with your students and getting to know those students. Keeping your kind of ears to the ground, being, a good observer, know what's going on. In elementary school, a lot of times the kids are helped along by their teachers. Timmy, you didn't turn in your classwork and so forth. They have to take on personal responsibility for their academic side. Can you speak to any of that and how maybe parents could help their child in fifth grade prepare to be sixth graders? Yeah, it's definitely a difference coming from fifth grade to sixth grade. Depending on the elementary you came from, these sixth graders are coming to a world where they possibly were in one class the whole day, and you're going to a sixth grade now where you're moving between 5 to 6 to maybe even 7 classes a day. So there's a lot to keep up with. With the advent of CTLS Parent and Parent View in the district, that's all a very helpful tool. But fifth grade parents, starting to let their kids be accountable for their work. It's great to be supportive and make sure you're aware of what they're supposed to be doing. But, they know assignments, due dates. Let them make sure they're turning it in and maybe have it be a teachable moment that if they don't turn something in on time, that's maybe where you step in and you talk about being proactive, spending time, looking at your calendar when things are due, making sure that you're not procrastinating. But just really as a parent, being supportive and making sure you're checking in with your kids. And I'm a big proponent of that daily with our middle school families. To always talk to them, check in with your kids. I say, don't ask them how their day was, because the middle schoolers will be like, no, it was fine.
Right.
Don't ask them what they did today, because they're going to say nothing. I always tell my parents, ask your child, and I learned this from a mentor of mine a long time ago, ask your child, what did they learn today? Because it forces them to talk about something they actually did at school.
And that's not just for the parents' edification or being aware of what's going on. That's actually to help reinforce what they learned, right? By recalling that knowledge.
Yeah, it can be. It's recalling that, getting them to think about their thinking and what they're learning. But also, I think it's a great and that takes just a minute or two to check in with your child each day. Ask them what they learned at school today. It lets them know that you're interested, that you're caring, you're supportive. Also, if you're a parent and you're networked in and you're getting CTLS parent post and from teachers, which is pretty much the norm in middle school now, to let them know in advance, parents that is, and families, what assignments are coming up. If you remember those kinds of things and you ask your child about that on a Tuesday, you knew they had a test, hey, how'd that test go today? That lets them know that you're aware of what's going on and you're keeping up with things. And usually I've found kids are a lot more responsible then, because they know that as a family member, adult family member, you're checking in, so they need to stay on top of things.
They need to be ready to give report to the parent. Now, one of the things that you mentioned in there was getting the assignments and being aware and responsible for the due dates, et cetera. These kids, okay, I'm going into old man mode here. These kids got it easy today in the sense that CTLS really makes a lot of that possible just right there on the app, right?
Yeah. We send out a parent newsletter each week that has that information on there. Kids have their student view account, which partners with the parent view account.
Yeah.
That's an easier thing. There are a lot of things that are, I think, more difficult for students today, but that's definitely something that it helps students with organization, with the CTLS Teach and the whole CTLS wheel of resources that we have. It really is to the student's advantage. They don't have to, write out stuff in planners anymore. There's a lot of things there for them to keep up with. And it's a process because, you have young fifth graders some of them are 11 years old when they're starting sixth grade. So to expect them to keep up with everything just like that from May to an August is a little bit unrealistic.
Yeah.
So it's a process. Our sixth graders, we support them in some different ways that we support our eighth graders. So, whereas eighth grade, you're expecting them almost to be high school junior and ready to go.
Yeah.
Those sixth graders, you've got to remind them some more. You've got to give them some little supports because we want them to be successful. We want them to set them up for success and have the supports and then slowly start to take those things away as they mature from sixth to eighth grade and start to be a little bit more independent.
Yeah, and I love the way you put slowly start to take things away instead of piling on new stuff. They have been shored up. It's like a construction project, if you will. You're removing a wall, and you don't just whack the wall out. You support things so your whole house doesn't come down, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we have a lot of processes and procedures at Smitha, as well as I know all the middle schools in the district, where if kids need academic assistance, there are a lot of different avenues to go to. And if they need some counseling assistance for a variety of things, if there are operational aspects that they need to check in with the front office, the eighth graders they know at the end, if I have this issue, these are the things that I need to do or places I need to go. And we teach them that starting in sixth grade. And as a sixth grader, you might have to remind the students and kind of nudge them in that direction. Our hope is that by the time we get to eighth grade, that they're mature, at least to the point where they know what their options are when it's an academic issue, when it's a social issue, when it's an operational issue, and they on their own are self-advocates and they use those avenues to find resolution to their issue.
Yeah, so just kind of owning their own career, if you will, in school, right? So you've also touched on parental involvement in a substantial way, and we know that parents are influential in the success of their students. The involvement of a parent can be anything from just a good attitude about school to walking them through the steps of a difficult situation, right? What advice would you give a parent who is just very nervous, very concerned that their child may not at this point be ready for sixth grade?
Just first off, at Smitha, and I know again, all the middle schools in Cobb, and we're an open door. Come talk with us. There have been plenty of parents the summer before sixth grade that I've talked to, sat down, just had a conversation in my office, or just maybe an email or a phone call, or when they're at our Rising sixth grade orientation, just maybe want to come talk to me after the program about some of their concerns. So first, just come talk. We're here to partner with you to walk with you in that journey from sixth grade to the end of eighth grade. So talk with us. Most times your nervousness comes from chatter you hear out in the community, from things that you see in movies. I joke with sixth graders all the time. I'm like, some folks come in and they think that they watch too much Nickelodeon or Disney Channel, and they see kids getting pushed into lockers or getting picked up and putting trash cans. That doesn't happen.
Right.
That's not how middle school is. Our kids come together and by and large treat each other with respect, integrity. They're helpful. They're very kind to each other. And I do find that most times it's not the sixth graders that are scared and concerned about coming to middle school. It's the parents that are concerned. Because I always tell parents that, by the second week of sixth grade, kids are, skipping through the halls like they've been here all the time. Kids today are very adaptable.
Yeah,
I find, and they're very enthusiastic usually about coming to middle school because some of them have been at the same school for the last 6 years. So going to a new place is fun.
Yeah.
So parents, especially first time middle school parents, talk with us, come to the different events that we have, come to the Rising sixth grade parent night that we have in the spring, come to a middle school's, we call ours the Cardinal Flyby before school starts, to get the schedule, to talk with administration, meet teachers, see all the clubs and activities we have going on. We have booths all set up before school starts. Come to open house, come to conference week, be supportive, and just walk with us. And if you have concerns, reach out.
Yeah, and the more they know about how the school operates and what resources are available, clubs, et cetera, the more they can help their child, right?
Exactly. Inform yourself. I mean, that's a good practice in any walk of life. So inform yourself about what's going on. Use our website as a resource. Talk to your child. Contact teachers if you have a concern. Talk with us. You volunteer at the school. But, we're very open and we want to make parents feel comfortable because usually a comfortable parent is going to be a comfortable child.
What behaviors in parents have you seen that are detrimental to their child's experience in middle school?
Not being supportive of the school, not first seeking to understand. We all love dearly our children and want to think that everything that they say is exactly how things happen. And sometimes students hear and see things differently than it was actually said or what happened. Whether that comes from how a test was given out or how student was allowed to do maybe a retake to improve their grade or a study guide, all the way to something that happened in the hallway. So call with an open mind and let's see what happened, investigate a little bit first, before you're maybe coming up to the school making accusations that are unfounded.
Or are based on a child's assessment
Child's
of the
recollection
situation.
of what happened. Because like I said, students often, like I say, that you say something to them, what you said and what they heard are two totally different things. And that's happened plenty of times with my own kids, and I think my kids are the best.
Same
but
here.
they've gotten things messed up before.
Yeah, some kids are better at listening and storing that information than others, and that's an interesting thing. And for you guys to be able to cope with all that you do and get these kids through successfully, that is incredible to a lot of us on the outside.
Yeah, teachers have a hard job these days, and teachers are good people, and they want the best for your child. No one's purposely not calling on your child in class. No one's they're there to support your child. And usually when your child's telling you about something that happened at school that maybe is negative, most times I found almost 99.9% of the time, there is a good reason behind what that situation entailed.
There's more to the rest of the story.
There's usually more, as the folks say, there's always more to the story.
Is there anything else that you wanted to add in here? Some resources for parents? So you've already given plenty, but
resources, again, the district does a great job of communication with families, I believe, in all, all the middle schools. I mean, we're working hard to make sure it's an enjoyable experience, it's a well-rounded experience. But I would ask, family members to reach out to their school or start to investigate all the different resources they have, things that they have in place to not only help them in the transition, like a parent night, open house, all of those